And so there's this wonderful play on nostalgia and what nostalgia means to us in the film. And at the same time, it's also saying, guys, change. So in the first film, you have Hutch, who is a deeply depressed man in the middle of a midlife crisis. He's mainly depressed because he's had to basically repress everything that's real about him, which is that he is a wild, aggressive man, and he's had to repress all of that. Now he's allowed to be what he's really like, but he's doing it so much now that he's neglecting the family again, but for a different reason. And so Becca kind of calls him back to the family and says, hey, we kind of need you to be more present. And so he comes up with this thing where he's realizing that he really wants to go back to this memory when he was a kid. This memory when he and his brother, Riza, were taken to this one trip with his dad. This one trip to like the perfect childhood memory. And as always, when you're an adult, you know, and you try to go back in time, you realize that the things you loved when you were a kid, when you try to come back to it, it's not the same anymore. And so there's this wonderful play on nostalgia and what nostalgia means to us in the film. And at the same time, it's also saying, guys, things change. Wake up and get with the program, you know. There's always been this secret that lies behind this fiction that Becca's and Hutch's life is built on. There's a life they had before they had kids, and then there's the life they had after they had kids. The life they had after they had kids was meant to keep them safe. And as such, they have been living a sort of cover story. And little by little, as you get to see more and more of their reality, you're starting to realize, and we're starting to show you guys more and more of the reality of who they really are. And this time, you're just getting to see a little bit more about who Becca really is and how they are so connected the way they are. I had to learn to swim really well. And as a Danish person, I am not a great swimmer, okay? And I sort of have always seen myself as like this very sporty. I love doing action. I love working out. I love running. I love all of this stuff, you know. I love fighting. I love all of that stuff, jumping up walls and down walls and all. It's my favorite thing. But in water, I am not that comfortable. And so in this film, I had to do underwater stunts. And I had to look like a really good swimmer in order to support that. And so that was my big sort of learning. I love to learn. And part of what I love about my job is that I am allowed to learn so many different things and explore so many different things in my life. And this time, I learned how to swim and dive. Yeah, it was lovely. I think that they're actually really well suited for each other, comedy and action. You know, I think it just works really well together. And I think that Bob obviously is a perfect example of that. He is a great comedian. And I think he has surprised even himself with just how good he is at action, you know, really good.
Arm's length, Hutch. We broke the promise.
I don't have control over this. I'm just realizing that.